Smart.
Hi, Gretchen.
Hi, everyone.
Hey there.
Oh, yay! Big crowd today. Guys, I'm super excited. I just want to go over a couple of things because we have something exciting happening today. We have a special guest, so it's not just going to be me doing all the talking. So stay tuned. She's not on quite yet, I don't think. But Dr. Kaysen DeMaria, who is an amazing chiropractor, will be joining us. And then if you could just keep yourself muted until the end of the call today, that would be, or not the end, I'm sorry, the very end of the presentation, and then we'll take all questions at the end. So let's see, it's noon, and you know I don't like to mess around, so we'll get started here. This is my favorite presentation. It's called Nutrition for Optimal Health. And I like it a lot because, slideshow here. I love this presentation because this is looking at nutrition in a slightly different way. I know most of us are used to thinking about nutrition, you know, how are we organizing our plates, you know, how many calories are we taking in, what are our macronutrients, things along those lines. This is kind of getting underneath that and talking about how food is working at a cellular level when it comes to improving your immune system, your hormones. What is that food and those compounds in the food actually doing for you? Hey, Dr. Kaysen, are you on the call? I don't think she's on quite yet. When she pops on, oh, there she is. Dr. Kaysen, I unmuted you.
Can you see me?
Yep. Can everyone see Dr. Kaysen?
Yep.
So like I was saying a little earlier, Dr. Kaysen DeMaria is one of the amazing chiropractors at the Drugless Doctors. And towards the end of the presentation, she's going to be talking a little bit about how chiropractic care can be part of nutrition for optimal, not nutrition, but optimal health, and how nutrition and chiropractic can kind of go hand in hand. So we'll talk a little bit about that as something fun. But getting into it, so today we have some specific objectives. We're going to talk about the 5 pillars of health, which you may not have thought about or heard about before, and the nutrition concepts behind those. We'll talk about specific foods in each of the pillars and how they're important for achieving optimal health. We'll talk about specific compounds, but don't worry, I'm not going to have any pop quizzes, so you won't have to remember any of the names. And I'm going to teach you ways to make sure you're getting in all these compounds without remembering any of the names. And then we'll talk a little bit about preparing foods so that you can get this broad amount of nutrients in your diet without having to remember a million things. So let's get started here. So the 5 pillars of health. What are they and what do they do? So the pillars are protect, repair, normalize, boost, and control. And I know before I started learning about functional nutrition and functional medicine, this was really not how I thought about food. So for some of you, this may be a really new approach. When we're talking about the 5 pillars of health, and we're gonna start with number 1, protect. What does that mean? It means protecting DNA through neutralization of free radicals. Those are kind of the bad compounds in our body that go around and cause all the trouble. When it comes to repair, we're talking about repairing damaged cells. So these first 2 are really focused on nutrition and what it does at a cellular level. Normalizing. Normalizing is all about normalizing of hormones. And we're not just talking about sex hormones here. Usually people think about testosterone and estrogen and progesterone. We will talk a little bit about those, but we are also going to talk about your most important hormone, or one of them, which is insulin, and how important it is to balance and normalize that. Boosting, we're going to talk about boosting the immune system, and we're also going to talk about controlling inflammation. I love this picture so much because it's an easy way to think about nutrition at the cellular level. So nutrition, and also a lot of different lifestyle factors. So stress, toxin exposure, trauma, whether it's physical trauma, mental, emotional trauma, any of that, community, how much, what's your situation with your community and your family, exercise, fluid intake, all of those things play a role and can impact how our cells are able to neutralize free radicals and control damage to their cellular DNA. So the boy in the tank is the DNA, and the balls being thrown at the target represent free radicals trying to attack DNA. So these free radicals, like I said, are kind of those bad compounds. They're unstable molecules that if they don't get neutralized, they'll do damage to cells, and they can contribute to excess inflammation within the body. They can also contribute to the cancer and other chronic diseases if not dealt with. So we can control how many balls are being thrown, and we can control our environment and lifestyle as best as we can. It's never going to be perfect. And that's okay, guys, because we have an amazing body that can deal with these free radicals. Let's do the best we can, and the body can take it from there. We also can prevent balls from hitting our target, the DNA, and dunking the DNA by neutralizing or deferring. So how does that happen? You have an antioxidant. So antioxidants are phytochemicals, and they're really interesting because they're phytochemicals and antioxidants. I'm going to use those two words interchangeably. They're produced by plants to protect the plant from free radicals and environmental stressors. So guess what? The plant protectors can do the same things in our bodies. And when we eat plants, we're eating the antioxidants, which can prevent and reverse damage in our cells. So we're going to talk about some standout important antioxidants here. So we have our carotenoids. So carotenoids include beta-carotene, which is a precursor to vitamin A. Vitamin A is super important for lots of things. So it's important for vision. It's also very important to the immune system. And it's one of our most potent antioxidants. Lycopene, you see the peppers on here, lycopene and the watermelon. Lycopene is also an important antioxidant that can be converted to vitamin A as well. Polyphenols are probably my favorite on this list. It may have something to do with the wine and chocolate pictured, but not exclusively. Polyphenols are really important for brain health. They can actually help us think more effectively and think clearer. And they're probably the most important antioxidant when it comes to maintaining good gut health, which you know I love talking about gut health. Indoles are also really important. So when we're talking about indoles, these are cruciferous vegetables. So our cruciferous vegetables are broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, arugula, Brussels sprouts. I left a couple off the list, but that's most of them. And they are really important for deactivating carcinogens. They have antiviral and antibacterial properties, and they can do a lot to protect that cellular DNA. So they're very protective and supportive. Lignans are antioxidants that have been shown to decrease your risk of cardiovascular disease. And your best source of lignans are ground flax seeds. Ground flax seeds are amazing for omega-3, our anti-inflammatory fatty acids as well, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Something that you hear a lot about are curcuminoids. Curcuminoids are found in turmeric, and as we all know, turmeric is a super potent anti-inflammatory spice. This can help with arthritis, tendinitis, and potentially protect against cancer as well. And curcumin, you hear these two words, curcumin and turmeric, kind of used interchangeably. Curcumin is the active form of turmeric. So let's talk about the next pillar, which is repair. So damage to cells begins the second we're born. There's nothing you can do. We're all currently having damage done to our cells as I speak. What we want to do is protect our cells as much as possible, but know that the damage will happen, and our body is actually fully equipped to deal with that. So damaged cells can cause disease, and the goal we have here with our nutrition and our lifestyle is to promote cell repair or promote cell death. Either one can be a good thing, and there are compounds in different foods that may encourage both this cellular repair and cell death. So what are these compounds? So folate, oh my gosh, one of my favorite B vitamins. It is so important. It promotes healthy cell replication. You often hear about folate in pregnant women. I'm not going to get into that right now, but it does have a lot to do with growing a healthy baby. It's also important for just our own general cell replication as we go throughout the life cycle. So higher intakes of dietary folate are associated with decreased risk of lots of cancers, GI cancer, colon cancer, pancreatic cancer. So really important to get that folate in. And you can see folate comes from lots of different foods, but one thing you'll notice is that it's the ones pictured here are all plant foods. So beans and legumes, asparagus, leafy greens like romaine, beets, avocados, all great sources of folate. Then we have those indoles showing up again. These are popular, you guys. So indoles out of themselves are sulfur-containing compounds found in our cruciferous vegetables. So sometimes people don't like cruciferous vegetables because they tend to wind up with stinky gas, but know that that's a sign that it's actually doing something good in your body. Your body may just not digest all that sulfur, all those sulfuric compounds very well. Indoles are really great compounds that can help cause natural cell death to damage cells. Our alliums, so we're talking about garlic and onions and other members of the onion family, like our green onion, shallots. Those are another sulfur-containing, those also have, the allium is a sulfur-containing compound in these vegetables that also helps to promote natural cell death, and it also has really good antiviral and antibacterial, it is a good antiviral and antibacterial compound. And then we've got the curcuminoids again. So sticking some of that turmeric in your dishes, very anti-inflammatory, very helpful for repairing or leading to cell death for damaged cells. Third pillar, normalize. The most important thing that we have control over, that we want to normalize in our body, is our blood sugar. I cannot say enough about this, and if you remember from the first presentation, I talked a lot about blood sugar management as well. When we're talking about blood sugar management, we want to make sure that we're not eating naked carbs. So what I mean by that is we're not eating carbohydrates that digest rapidly and lead to an increase in blood sugar, which leads to an increase in insulin. That sort of a roller coaster that is created is what leads to things like metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, diabetes, which creates more inflammation in the body and which can cause other problems. So one thing we can do to make sure our blood sugar is managed is we want to make sure we're having at all of our meals, we're having some combination of fiber, healthy plant-based fat, and protein. Making sure we're having those in conjunction with our carbohydrates is going to keep our blood sugar nice and balanced. It's also going to help us feel more full, so we're not reaching for sugary things. And it actually also helps bring those cravings down, again, kind of reducing the likelihood for this blood sugar roller coaster. Another thing that's really important is hormones. So fiber is kind of the star of the show when it comes to hormone control. And you may think, really? Why? Well, during digestion, we have bile, which is composed of cholesterol and other substances, and it breaks down fat from food before being reabsorbed into the liver. Bile is also a really important thing because it packages up waste products like extra hormones. So a lot of us have extra estrogen, progesterone, maybe even extra testosterone roaming around in our body, and the liver is responsible for getting rid of any of the excess. So the bile will package up these excess hormones, and with help from other organs, the liver releases this package of bile and hormones into the digestive tract. And then we have fiber that's going to pull these little packages of bile from the GI tract and pull it out of the body along with other waste. So we're getting rid of it, but we can't get rid of it unless we have enough fiber. Super important. Dr. Kaysen and I were talking last week about hormone balance and things like that. Dr. Kaysen, is there anything you wanted to add about hormone balance from your point of view?
Yeah, so what's really interesting in our practice, and I practice as the Drugless Doctors right across from Crocker Park, is the liver is the key to all of this, because that truly is your oil filter. And I know, Gretchen, you were talking about the bile and the liver and gallbladder, they work hand in hand. So in our practice, we see a lot of people with sluggish livers or even fatty livers that may have never ever been even detected, because a lot of times if your liver is sluggish, you could have an imbalance in hormones. And as a female in our practice, we see this as like tender breasts, a heavy menstrual flow, maybe constipation, varicose veins, spider veins, and even a lot of times people will have their gallbladder removed because of gallstones or not having that proper bile be secreted. And really the underlying root of it is that their liver was sluggish due to toxins, environment, foods. It could be medications, it could be alcohol, it might be having a baby. And that's why even my father-in-law, Dr. Bob DiMaria, his female hormone book on balancing female hormones really is key for every woman to really understand that it's not just one component, but all of these pieces that fit together. So you might be frustrated right now in regards to even normalizing your weight, but it might be because of other factors going on. And it's really discovering those missing links. And that's what we do in our practice every day as chiropractors, but also working nutritionally with people as well.
And one of the first things that's so important if you're suspecting that this is an issue, assess your fiber intake. Make sure you're filling half your plate with vegetables at lunch and dinner, and make sure when you're having grains, you're eating whole grains. So you're getting lots of good fiber in that way. I also always suggest having nuts as a snack. I think this is the best afternoon, mid-morning, whatever your snack time of the day is. Have a handful, so somewhere between a quarter of a cup and 1/3 of a cup of nuts. A great powerhouse for fiber. All right, we're going to continue talking a little bit more about what low glycemic foods are and what is fiber. I want to start with the fiber because I keep talking about it. Oh my gosh, through all these presentations, I feel like that's all I talk about. So fiber is found in our plant foods, and it's only found in our plant foods. And fiber is the skeleton of the plant. So it's in all our plant foods. You got to eat the plants. There are very few people who do well on a plantless diet. That may be you. I would never say that, if you know what works for you, that's awesome. But generally speaking, fiber is super important. Our low glycemic foods, like I said, are foods that are high in fiber. So these are fruits, veggies, whole grains, nuts. They're also foods that are high in plant-based fats. So nuts, seeds. Our oils are healthy oils like olive oil, avocado oil, healthy high-fat foods like olives or avocados, and then our high-protein foods, so our poultry, our fish, just trying to make smart choices and buying them as in their least processed form, and also having them be either grass-fed, grass-grazed, wild-caught, all those things where they are eating a more natural diet. So low glycemic foods, fiber. Next thing we're going to talk about is boosting. So what the heck are we boosting here? So we are boosting our immunity, and we're also helping to support detoxification. And guess where this all starts? It all starts in the gut. So when we're boosting our body, we want to think about our gut, because it is so important that we maintain a healthy microbiome. And guess what with this starts food-wise? It starts with eating fiber. So fiber is the main source of fuel for our good gut bacteria. So eating enough fiber means that you're setting up house for the good gut bacteria. So you're setting up an environment where the good ones can grow, and the bad ones, which tend to eat more sugar, are not going to be able to grow as healthfully. Other things that you want to do when you're thinking about your your microbiome is you want to make sure that you're eating fermented foods. So fermented foods actually contain those good probiotics, so that good bacteria. So we're talking about things like yogurt, fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles even. You just want to make sure these fermented foods are refrigerated, because if they're made to be shelf stable, it means they were pasteurized, which means they don't have any good bacteria in them anymore. So if you're buying Vlasic sauerkraut that sits on the shelf, it's not really giving you a probiotic benefit. But if you're buying something like Cleveland kraut, that's going to be much better for you. Lots of brands out there depending on where you live too. So just look in the refrigerated section. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are found in our fatty fish like sardines, salmon, tuna, walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds. Making sure you're getting those omega-3 fatty acids in your diet are also really important for gut health. And then making sure you're either regularly taking a probiotic or in a supplement form, or getting in daily or almost daily amounts of probiotics is also super important. Some fun facts on the microbiome and why it's important. There's approximately 10 trillion bacteria, yeast, and fungi that live in our gut, and that's 10 times more cells than we have in our actual bodies. So we have this amazing synergistic relationship with our gut. Our bacteria in our gut send 10 times the number of signals to our brain as our brain sends to our gut. So who's really calling the shots here? It actually may be our bacteria. So you want to take care and make sure you're setting up a home in your gut where the good guys that are going to promote feeling good, thinking well, all these things that are going to contribute to balanced living, you want to make sure you're setting up a good home for them. And then detoxifying, we talked a little bit about that when we talked about hormones, but again, fiber-rich foods, cruciferous vegetables are really important for detoxification, and vitamin C also found in lots of foods are citrus foods. And fun fact, the food that is highest in vitamin C are your red bell peppers.
Gretchen, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
What was the difference again between prebiotic and the probiotic?
Ooh, excellent question. Probiotics are the good bacteria.
Okay.
Prebiotics are the food for the good gut bacteria, aka fiber.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right, last but not least, we have here foods that can control your inflammation response. So a little bit of inflammation is a good thing, and we absolutely need that. For instance, if you fall and scrape your knee, you see all that redding that occurs as your skin is healing, as your immune system is helping the skin heal. That is great inflammation that you absolutely need. Inflammation becomes a problem when it becomes chronic and widespread throughout the body, and it just gets out of control. So what foods are anti-inflammatory? Guess what? Plant foods. I know you're not surprised by this point that I'm talking about plant foods. So they're important. They help control inflammation because they are anti-inflammatory foods. They have the antioxidants. They have fiber that really just helps support good body response overall. All right, so specific anti-inflammatory foods to think about. Your berries are an excellent source of what are called anthocyanins. Again, don't remember that term. It's not important, but studies show that's very good for reducing chronic inflammation in the body. Omega-3 fatty acids are our anti-inflammatory fatty acids. Our pro-inflammatory fatty acids are omega-6 fatty acids, and we need those. But guess what? We all get plenty just by eating meats and other things in our diet. So increasing the amount of omega-3 containing foods that you have in the diet will help decrease your inflammation load overall. And then I can't tell you how much I love onion, garlic, shallots, basically anything that's containing these allium compounds. So great. They have antiviral and antibacterial properties, and they really do help to control inflammation, especially within the gut. So how do we make this happen in real life? We want to make sure we are following the plate, and I feel like you may have heard this before. but at least 75% of our plate should be plants. So you can see this is the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate. I don't agree with absolutely everything on this. Like, my healthy oils may be a little different from their healthy oils, but generally speaking, this is a good way to think about it. You want to be filling at least half your plate with vegetables and maybe a little bit of fruit. Your whole grains should be a serving that's about a cup or less, generally speaking, and your healthy protein should be about the size of the palm of your hand. Your healthy plant-based fats should be treated like a condiment, and your main beverage is water. In real life, how does this look? Because it's so hard to translate all the stuff we just talked about, these 5 pillars of health, into real life. What does it actually look like? It looks like filling half your plate with vegetables. It looks like having a fist size worth of high fiber starch or some sort of whole grain on your plate. And then you want to make sure you're having roughly 4 to 6 ounces of protein depending on the size of the palm of your hand. You'll notice in the middle of this plate, I also have some delicious avocado oil mayonnaise, which is a dipping sauce for those French fries there, which are oven baked sweet potato fries. And my goodness, this meal was so delicious. There's a little bit of, this is a real meal that I had last summer, by the way. There's some herbs, spices, and extra virgin olive oil on the non-starchy vegetables, so the green beans and the carrots, and there's some mushrooms in there. And this is a great example of a meal that will help balance your blood sugar and get you all those nutrients that we talked about. So I just want to remind you that I do have meal plans, and you get a 5-day trial for all of any of the meal plans that I have available. I have meal plans for lots of different life situations and diets that you may be interested in. So I have a flex plan that's great for families. And I also have a diabetes plan that focuses on low glycemic, again, focusing on that high fiber, high protein, healthy fats. All of the plans really that I have are whole foods based. So we're not messing around with any fake compounds here. Also, they don't take a long time to make, and they utilize a wide array of nutrients, so you can easily get all of the things that we talked about on the plate without having to think about it. So sign up for the free day trial. Try a couple of the recipes. If you like it, it is $20 for your customizable meal plan for a month. And I have lots of my clients do this for a couple months and just gather some new recipes that are nice and easy for their arsenal. You may have gotten an email over, I think on Friday, about my my coaching program, which is called 6 Weeks to Success. So normally I offer this to my clients that have gone through kind of my gut restoration program or some of the other programs that I offer, but now I'm offering it to everyone because I'm kind of in a weird time when it comes to food right now. And my guess is that we have about another 6 weeks until things truly get back to normal. So setting mini goals, so goals that are very easy for you to accomplish, goals that are very targeted, are a great way for you to just stay more mindful about your eating habits. So if you feel like you're, finding your hand in the chip bag at 9 p.m. at night, or you're buying ice cream at the store when you normally wouldn't, this can be a great program to help you kind of stay on track and be a little bit more mindful about your food. So you're feeling better overall. And then you get 1 month of free meal plans. Like I was mentioning, you'll get those living plate meal plans based on your needs. And then stay tuned in the email because you also get an additional discount for being an awesome attendee of Nutrition for You. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kaysen here. She's going to talk just a little bit about what the Drugless Doctors have available.
I love how you are tying it all together, Gretchen, because I know you had the 5 pillars here, but I know we were in conversation talking about this too. We break it down as form, function, and fuel. And even though you may be fueling your body correctly with these cruciferous vegetables and you're focusing on your B vitamins and you're doing your fermented foods, you still may not be reaching the level that you think you should be based on what you're putting into your body and what you're doing in regards to putting that effort in. So I like to think of us at the Drugless Doctors as puzzle solvers. So I don't know if you've experienced chiropractic care or natural health care before, but if you're looking at diving deeper even in regards to your health, and chiropractically we work with the nervous system, which it's all connected. And I was working with a woman yesterday and she said, Dr. Kaysen, I've been thinking about weight loss for the last 5 years. And she said, I think about weight loss and food so much that I'm depressed. And now she's taking an anxiety medication because she can't get out of this funk. So we're really working in depth with her through chiropractic and the nervous system, as well as my little sheet here. If you see, we also offer breast thermography for women, which is a different approach, looking at the inside of your body, because you could have inflammation, which is impacting your hormonal system. And I know, Gretchen, you were talking about hormones in the liver. What's really interesting about all of this is I offer thermography quarterly, and it's all based on temperature. And this is a breast here, but you could have cysts even underneath in your breast if you're a woman. And if you've had children and you've breastfed, that could also impact your hormonal system. And we can see that all based through temperature and function. So there's no radiation and no compression. And I know we're offering that coming up April 28th, May 1st, and May 5th. And women as early as 25 can do that as a service. So we've seen so many ladies that have had low thyroids and other challenges going on hormonally that they weren't even aware about. So I would encourage you, if you're looking for someone to see if there's anything else going on in your body and see if we could help you, we would love to do that. We're right across from Crocker Park in the South Gemini Tower. So even as I look out my office right here, I can see the Hyatt Hotel. And I'm sure some of you may have even been in our building before, right next to PNC Bank.
Thanks so much, Dr. Kaysen. And I just want to say that breast thermography is a really cool and innovative tool. So definitely something for the ladies out there to think about. So I just want to review. We're thinking about nutrition in a new way today, and we're thinking about it according to the 5 pillars of health. So those 5 pillars: protect, repair, normalize, boost, and control. When we're talking about foods in each of those areas, protecting, we're thinking about things like antioxidants, lycopene from tomatoes. We're thinking about beta-carotene in carrots. When we're talking about repairing, we're thinking about folate-rich foods, oranges, asparagus. We're thinking about those sulfur-containing foods like cabbage, garlic, and onions. Normalizing. The name of the game when it comes to normalizing is normalizing blood sugar first. You take away one thing from today's talk. Think about making sure you're pairing your fiber, fat, and protein together so you can stabilize blood sugar. It's going to set you up for success throughout the rest of your body as well. Boosting immune function. And when I talk about immune function, I'm talking about gut health, because most of our, I think I forgot to say this, but about 70% of our immune system is actually housed in our gut. So we want to make sure we're feeding our gut in the appropriate manner, eating lots of anti-inflammatory foods, eating a high fiber diet. And finally, control. We want to control our inflammatory response by eating lots of anti-inflammatory foods. So lots of foods that are rich in antioxidants, our omega-3 fatty acids, and then onion and garlic. Can't say enough about those, and they're so delicious. If you're interested in contacting me or Dr. Kaysen, here is our information. And I just want to open up the floor for any questions that anybody has. So feel free to take yourself off mute if you've got a question and shout it out. Now's your chance.
Do you suggest blood testing to see if there's anything that I'm lacking, nutrient-wise?
Oh, me?
Anyone?
Okay, I'll take this one. It depends. So I do offer micronutrient testing, and I'll let Dr. Kaysen speak to what they offer as well. I don't offer it to everybody, just because a lot of times, based on your symptoms, you don't necessarily need to have testing. It can be really expensive and not covered by insurance too. So if you don't want to shell out $200 for a micronutrient test, we can definitely try some diet options first and see if that helps reduce your symptoms. However, The test is super interesting. It looks at almost 40 different nutrients, and it can be a very good window to creating a targeted approach.
And also, Gretchen, if I can piggyback on that, even with foods, what I found because of genetically modified foods and even organic foods with the quality of it, even if all of us were eating perfectly, a lot of us still are lacking different things based on our adrenal function, thyroid function, hormonal system. So in our practice, Chris, we do have different nutritional options and opportunities for people to get assessed. And we have something that's called an OptiChem, which we go through LabCorp, and that is through our co-op. So in regards to even in our nutritional plans, it's around $500 to do 4 different nutritional assessments. And we even have a microscope in our office. And as you were talking, Gretchen, about gut biome, a lot of people have parasites and other things that are underlying that they're not even aware of that could be impacting minerals. So we're able to do a lot of different diagnostic tools in regards to blood tests and food assessments. And of course, you do want to be cost effective because you could spend thousands of dollars and not truly get to the root cause, because you don't want to be taking thousands of different supplements. You really want to be focusing on the whole foods and the plants and focusing on that. But you could still be lacking different items based on stress, environment, work, chasing your kids around. So we do offer that. And if you're interested, you can look at our website, Chris. We'd love to see if we could help you with that.
Another thing I just want to mention, there's one nutrient that I'm pretty sure everyone on this call is in the, well, I know everyone on this call is in the Northern Hemisphere. So if you are above the Mason-Dixon line, and I think almost everyone is, you should also be getting your vitamin D assessed at least. A lot of times your primary care doctor won't do this unless you ask, but definitely ask for that, because a lot of us are running around with deficient vitamin D levels and we don't know it, and we feel tired and we're having all these other issues going on. Vitamin D is such an essential nutrient for bone health, brain health, basically everything in the body, metabolism. So if you haven't had your vitamin D checked in a while, definitely suggest asking your primary care doctor for that. It's usually covered by insurance. And another food-related deficiency, about 75% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. And this isn't your fault. This is because our soil is actually deficient in magnesium, and there's really not enough. You could be eating the most organic diet and still be deficient in magnesium. Oftentimes, if I have a client who isn't sleeping well, or they're having issues with constipation or other things that are indicative of a magnesium deficiency, I won't even bother testing. I would just go and start supplementing, because there's a huge chance you probably have a deficiency, and a little supplementation isn't going to hurt. Any other questions?
Gretchen, what's
Yes.
the difference between folate and folic acid?
Such a great question. So this gets really confusing, especially if you're a woman and you go to your OBGYN and maybe you're thinking about getting pregnant and they say, make sure you get enough folic acid. So folate is actually what we want to be taking in, not folic acid. So our body has to go through a lot of different chemical steps to get folic acid into a place where your body can actually use it for that cell replication that I was talking about. Folate is going to be much easier for the body, much more bioavailable for the body to actually use. And about 60 to 70% of people actually have what's called an MTHFR polymorphism. This is where your body has a difficult time methylating folate. So we need a methyl group to attach to folate so they can get into the cells and start doing its job. What I always encourage people to look for if they're looking for folate supplementation and they suspect B vitamin deficiencies is to get a methylated B complex, or look for a multivitamin that has methylated B vitamins, because there's a decent chance you may have this genetic polymorphism. You could absolutely get it tested, talk to your primary care doctor or another physician about that. But honestly, taking methylated vitamins, whether you have this polymorphism or not, isn't going to hurt. It's only going to make it more bioavailable. Did that answer your question? Anything else? Awesome.
Hey,
Yes.
Gretchen, real quick, sorry. What
No, you're
foods are
fine.
high? What foods are high in magnesium?
oh, what foods are high in magnesium? Your nuts and your seeds are really good sources of magnesium. So I would start there.
Yep, I eat a lot
Also,
of those.
leafy greens are a good source of magnesium.
Eat a lot of that. Okay,
Woohoo!
cool.
That's great. And sometimes remember, it's not that your food is, you know, you're eating bad food. It's just that your food inherently, because of the soil it's grown in, it doesn't have a lot of magnesium. So something to keep in mind.
Cool. Thanks.
Sure.
And if I'll give you a shameless plug, Gretchen. If anybody has not done the 6 weeks to success, Gretchen's awesome through the program and very, you learn so much and very helpful.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary Ellen. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. Anything else? I'm going to take one more question if anyone has any. Going once, going twice. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure, actually, all 3 of these sessions. I've had a blast doing this. I hope you've learned a few things along the way, and you will get your email with the recording. Included in there will be Dr. Kaysen's contact information and those bonuses I mentioned. So reach out to me if you're thinking about 6 weeks to success, or if there's any other way that I can help you with nutrition. I'd be happy to help you, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ellen.
Bye, Trish.
Yeah.